We are going to start the panel about blockchain and music. I just came out and covered some people here, but I've been also involved in blockchain, following what has happened in the last few years, and I think it's really interesting what it could bring to the music industry. I guess we've been talking that probably we should not get too technical, but it will be good from the audience who really knows what is blockchain. Hands up. Okay, so yeah, not too technical probably. All right, so well, I have in the table Nicolas from Eventbrite, Oscar from Real Network, Oliver.
From Oliver.com, yeah. Big cheese.
A kind of influencer for UK in the blockchain scene, and Lee from Ditto. And I'm going to let you just introduce yourself briefly, like what you do and what is your relation with blockchain.
Okay, I am Nicolas Mateos. I've been working in a ticketing business for 7 years. I am developer and software engineer. I'm in touch with the cutting edge technology because I am working on the R&D section at Eventbrite in incubation. We are in touch with a lot of technologies. I love blockchain because technically it apports a lot of things to add to every business that I can think.
Okay.
Hello everybody, my name is Oscar Garcia. I have been part of the music industry for the last 20 years. I was marketing director at Warner Music, then I was the director of the RCA label. By the end of 2007, 2008, I joined the Napster company. It's Rhapsody in the US. It's 50% of the company I'm working now. It's Real Networks. So we launched the Napster streaming service. And well, I think as everybody is thinking in here, I think blockchain is something that is going to change things. We can talk about how can change things. At this very moment, I'm a writer. I'm running also a TV show in the Spanish national television called La Hora Musa, and every Tuesday at 11 p.m. So that's pretty much what I'm doing briefly.
Yeah, hi, I'm Oliver. I'm a bit of an influencer in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. I got into it around 2013, and I've started to realize the benefits that blockchain technology can bring to major corporations and industries. So I started to get in touch with, major corporations, different industries, and I'm trying to explain to people how blockchain can improve the efficiency of their everyday business.
All right, awesome. I'm Lee, I'm from Ditto Music. I've been working on a music blockchain for like the last 12 months. So we're kind of ready to launch now. So obviously there's only a small number of us here, so I think we should just get as many questions in as we can and try and explain everything as much as we can from a music perspective and a business perspective.
All right. Blockchain is supposed to change many industries. Music is something that is starting to come up. I think maybe, Lee, you made it at the beginning in the previous conference, and I think it could be good to try to, in your point of view, how is going to blockchain, or why is blockchain so relevant for the music industry?
Okay, so I think one of the major problems within the music industry is the transparency of payments. So, for example, if we use someone like the PRS or a PRO's job is to go and collect your music every time it's played on the radio. But if your music is played, somewhere in a country and you're not there, how are you supposed to know if it's played or not? And we're relying on a third party to tell us if it is and give us our money. So in Brazil, for example, 80% of the radio money doesn't go back to the artists. It all kind of gets filtered into a big system, and then eventually it goes back to the major labels and a few of the artists. With blockchain and what we've been building, you can track everything from the life cycle of a song like a parcel. So everything, once you put it on the blockchain, every time anyone interacts with that song, in any country in the world, in any bar in the world, then it's all recorded, which obviously is a huge thing for the music industry, and it's more important for independent artists, than the major labels, because the major labels, with the PROs, if there's any money left over from the PROs, it normally goes back to the major labels, but obviously it shouldn't do. So if you're an independent artist, being able to track the lifetime of your single, there's a lot of money out there basically that the blockchain can help funnel back to you.
Oliver, something to add there?
Yeah, sure. We can actually do this via smart contracts. I mean, does anyone know what a smart contract is? Okay, great. So the basic way to look at a smart contract, I kind of look at it and I explain to people it's almost like an if statement. So if a certain event happens, if a certain condition is met, for example, a certain payment or something is released. So I don't know, the most basic way to explain it would be, I guess, a soccer match, football match, right? If me and Lee are we're gonna have a bet, right?
Yep.
If we're gonna have a bet, basically both of our money would go into an escrow, and then without a middleman like a betting agency or a central authority, say I bet on Liverpool to win and Lee bets on Manchester United to win and Liverpool win, the money's automatically released. And you could use the same type of smart contract in the music industry as such that every single time it's played, every single time a song is played, the music is released to somebody. The payment is released to somebody.
Yep. Well, something to add, guys?
Yeah, I mean, just for, I mean, from my perspective, I think, I mean, music industry, especially the big labels, the big labels like Warner Music or Universal or Sony, I mean, they are like big elephants that they move very slowly, right? So, I mean, changes always take time. So I think blockchain is something that is going to happen, but I think it's going to take time. I mean, I don't think, that's my point of view, labels are very happy for that transparency. I mean, you just mentioned
I think I'd say record labels have a historical background of being very slow to adopt anything. So if you look back at 1999 when Napster came around, they tried to stop Napster, they tried to sue the internet. I think, but for the first time with blockchain, they will actually make more money by adopting than not adopting. So I think they will kind of come around eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that you mentioned about this 1999 event, because I mean, I remember, I mean, maybe some people it's around here. In Spain, in 1999, we had quite a big crisis in terms of piracy. You know, what was the starting of the decreasing the physical sales, and then the government. I remember perfectly. The government thought that the main pirate was the people who were selling CDs on the streets. You know, los manteros. I don't know how to say that, you know. So the campaigns were against the people who were selling CDs on the streets, instead thinking that something was happening on the net, on internet, right? So when they thought to change things, it was too late. People were used to work on the internet. So I think when I mentioned about transparency, I mean, contracts signed by artists today, I mean, they don't know. Sometimes they don't know how much they get for a stream in Spotify. That's something that has to change somehow. I mean, many artists say all the time. I mean, I had 1 million streams on Spotify, and I don't know how much money I get, because depending if it's the listening of the stream was in a premium. So transparency is a good thing, but I'm not that sure that all the labels at this point is going to take time. That's my opinion.
So I think it's the moment of the blockchain at the technical companies. Maybe yes. Why? 10 years later, when blockchain appears, all the technological companies were thinking about how to improve the experience to the user, because we are moving the physical things to internet. Oh, okay, it's good. And now this experience is good for all the users. All the people buys tickets, buys clothes, buys shoes, you know, buy a lot of things on internet. So maybe it's the moment to prepare this paradigm shift, you know, because blockchain is not a cutting-edge technology. Are you agree with that? It's not new. It's not a newborn technology, but it's a good very good technology that provides to convert all our assets to without sense to assets without sense itself. You know, we can provide a lot of functionalities to music, to tickets, to wherever you want. So maybe it's the moment to start to discuss all the music industry, to share some ideas, to collaborate. Why? Because all the technological platforms are thinking in, okay, I have blockchain, I have blockchain, I have blockchain, I have blockchain. Well, maybe it's a bubble. Blockchain has sense if we create some channels or some smart contract between third-party integrators to share some new functionalities, because we need to cover some black holes in the industry. I'm working on a ticketing business, and I know what kind of black holes have the ticketing business, but I think that all the parts of the music industry has some points with no covers, and we need to work together from your idea to another ideas to start to grow together and share some things. But it's a public network, okay, it's a public network. We can work together, yes, we can work together. We only need to define the smart contract between us to start to teach the people what kind of things blockchain can support them. Because blockchain is very good, but the people needs to know.
I guess that's, for these guys here who probably don't know much about it, I guess that's a big question, you know, how do I get involved in blockchain? What's the point in getting involved in blockchain? And why would I want to, you know, for my music? So hopefully we've got...
Sure.
Like I said,
Don't say buy crypto.
no, you don't need to buy the demo token. It's not out till January, but I will give you the link. Any early adopters do any new platform always make the most gains. I know I said this before, but the first people on MySpace became superstars. The first people on mp3.com became superstars. So looking into it before anyone else looks into it, and then working out what your point is. In 5 years' time, everyone will be on it, and everyone will be using it, and that. But the fact that no one really is now gives you the opportunity to go in and find a brand new technology, and help find your audience through that.
Yeah.
Don't know how you do that.
I think we are in the birth of the movement that will be a reality, a mass reality in maybe 5 to 10 years, we don't know. But I mean, we all have seen the hype with Bitcoins and all that has gone. Now, it's true they have brought many talent people who is there, and now they know what is it about, and they want to develop things there. But in music, we know the industry, so we know how majors are elephants and how majors are really reluctant, and they will do it just when they are really obliged to do so. Probably they have learned a bit with the streaming thing, but in my view, I think it's gonna be not easy. It will have to be small people who start to do things until they see that works, and then they will go for it. But yeah, I think, as he said, it's probably that's my point of view. I didn't introduce myself. I've been in music startups for the last 6 years, and I followed this movement of blockchain, and now I'm trying to stick to it, and I'm trying to learn as much as possible. Somehow, the people who is in this table, we are somehow pioneers in the sense that we believe this can go somewhere, and maybe, as you say, in 5 years will be, like people
January.
who knows a lot about it. And
Do it with blockchain, January the 1st. It's going to
January
happen.
the 1st, okay.
Yeah, just to interrupt you, and then because Lee was saying something about these early adopters, and I completely agree. And I believe in blockchain. My point is, I think it's something that's going to happen. It's going to take time. But I mean, just like for these guys that are here, just like going to practical examples, right? I think that the key word is transparency. I think the artists are looking for transparency in their contracts when how much money do they get when they go to streaming? How much money do they get when in terms of a concert? There are many partners when they do a concert. practical example. How much money do I get when a song is playing on the radio?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And how do I know when it's played on the radio?
So I mean, I read in some papers, I mean, that blockchain is going to be something instant. I mean, and then because I'm part of blockchain, and if a song of my song is playing on the radio, instantly the money is going to happen. In Spain, that's not going to happen instantly. I mean, that's how it works today. I mean, that's my understanding. I mean, if your song is playing in a network like 40 Principales, Cadena 100, or whatever, I mean, Radio 3, whatever, they liquidan.
Pay you, they transfer you.
The payments are like 30 days, you know. So and how do I get my money? I mean, one of the keywords of blockchain is like instant things. In radio, that's not possible. So just like to try to see how those things could change.
And that's why it's slow to adopt, because you imagine you create this amazing platform, and then you have to go to radio and say, okay, guys, we want you to move to this and pay people out instantly. Like, they're not going to want to do it. So that's what's kind of taking blockchain so long for adoption. It's not that like the technology is not there. A lot of people make a lot of money out of being non-transparent. So it has to get to the point where they have to move to that, and we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, I kind of think it's impossible for adoption, especially in the music industry, not to happen, because as soon as a few people start adapting this new technology, the people that aren't obviously are hiding something, which is obviously what blockchain is all about. So,
yeah. Oliver, what about what? I mean, we've been talking about the most obvious thing that blockchain can bring to music, that is to track where every song is played and how the artist can get back the money from that. Do you see any other kind of use cases? And maybe ticketing as well. Maybe even Nicolas is more...
Ticketmaster? No, you're not from Ticketmaster, innit?
Eventbrite.
Oh, no, Eventbrite, sorry.
Eventbrite,
Are you guys doing blockchain stuff already?
No.
Eventbrite, like the major players in this ticketing business, are trying to figure out how the blockchain can support not the ticketing business. It's more about what kind of things or what kind of functionality can add to the organizers.
So again, one of your biggest problems for everyone else, obviously, is reselling.
Yeah,
the
maybe
tickets, right?
it's
So
reselling is about how can add functionalities to organizers and how to add functionalities to the attendees, you know? So as I mentioned before, ticketing platform has a black holes in some parts of the ticketing business as the secondary markets or the scalpers, you know? So we need to move the idea to get a digital ticket. Why is the reason to say digital ticket? Because it's a PDF, you know?
Yeah.
It's a QR code. The QR code itself doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You need a platform behind that to allow to some attendees to go to an event, you know? So we need to think in how to implement some kind of thing to prevent that. The legacy staff of the ticketing business, all ticketing business, not blockchain business, are thinking about how to sell more tickets, and add experience to the user.
Yeah,
so we need to cover what's happened when someone sell or buy a ticket, you know?
So do most ticket companies not care about the second? Because I've heard that Ticketmaster make money from the secondary market anyway, from reselling it. A lot, like StubHub,
this is an ethical position.
So are they not in a rush to solve that problem? Is that what you're saying?
Depends of the ethical position of the company. Your company can add more place to a song if you want. You know, it's up to you. Depends on the company, but we need to offer a transparent platform. It's like the music. It's the same. Okay, I buy a ticket. I am the owner of this ticket. I can do more things than before. I can do that.
But Nicolas, are you aware of samples? Is something already happening, or is just a wish in the ticketing industry? I mean, in Eventbrite, are you doing something? You know, if Ticketmaster is working on that, or
We are researching about
researching.
maybe
making that money.
it's blockchain now. Blockchain now is the moment of blockchain. You can start with another company or not. It's a technology that we need to discover what kind of things.
Data music way past the research stage, by the way, but that's just transparency.
Yeah,
what we want.
Transparency. Yeah. And maybe it's transparency and a trusted environment, and safety environment.
And I think that's, like I said, that's why it's so hard for people to adopt to it. And I keep saying the same thing, but if you have people like, most of these, not you guys obviously, but a lot of the ticket companies make money from the secondary market, even the biggest ones. So it's like, when you say, do you want to go on the blockchain, you've got to kind of convince them to move their whole business model to being transparent, when probably 90% of businesses out there are making money by being not transparent, from car salesmen to estate agents. Everyone is making money, but it's not in the favor of the consumer. The main thing about the blockchain and Bitcoin, everything else, it takes all those guys out, and it will mean I can do a transaction straight to you without that third party in there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's also redundant all these things that you're mentioning. I think, first of all, when the crowdfunding came, like 10 years ago probably, and now with blockchain, I mean, in the last 15 years probably, I mean, we have passed from a business that the artist was not in the middle of the business, right? I mean, right now, the artist is trying to own the things that are happening.
Yeah,
and
they are more so.
And that's why those blockchain things make sense. And that's why I think labels are like a little bit moving slowly, because they don't want to lose control of what they have until now. So that's pretty much the way we are moving.
January 1st, get a blockchain.
I guess also, maybe Oliver, you are a bit more into that, but about the technicalities of the thing, it's also true. It looks like that the technology has still a lot of constraints. I mean, it's scalability and so other things.
Sure. So we're in very early stages now. I mean, everyone saw the Bitcoin boom and the crypto boom in December, right? And back then I was going to a lot of events, meeting a lot of people, and no one was really talking about the actual adoption phase. More people were talking about the price and the speculation about making money. Now the market's actually, Bitcoin was at 20,000, now it's at 4,000. People are now starting to really actually realize the problems with some of these current solutions. Now the market's kind of crashed and a bubble has burst. With issues like scalability and decentralization is a big important aspect for some of these projects. Because the whole idea of kind of the crypto and blockchain stuff is to have no central authority. But a lot of these crypto development companies and blockchain development companies, they're not really decentralized. They have full control. It's not actually solving the problem because they kind of have full control still. It's just passing that control to somebody else down the line. So I think there's a lot of constraints right now between getting a happy medium between scalability to launch something with big corporate businesses and decentralization. Because obviously no corporation is going to use something that doesn't scale. Let's take Ethereum, for example. Someone released a game on Ethereum called Crypto Kitties. And it was just a normal game where you can buy and trade cats, and it completely trashed the network, and transactions were taking hours to go through. Now, if the music industry is going to adopt to something like that, we can't have these type of problems. But like I said, we're in very early stages, so maybe I think we're now starting to see the next generation of blockchains with stuff like Zilker, stuff like sharding and high throughput. That we're going to see the mass adoption phase now. And the real kind of bubble's going to start, I believe.
Hopefully, all my shit coins from December will be going back up soon.
I
think also there is a problem now with there is a lot of backend done, but the usability of the apps that are developed on blockchain are really, really, clunky and so on. So there is still a lot.
And there's no apps. Like every blockchain you speak to is like, well, the first person to get an actual work, because there's no one using the blockchain. That's the other big problem.
I think the real problem here is this whole little bubble we had in December. People were almost trying to develop blockchains and cryptocurrencies and then to create a problem almost for their solution. Whereas now, like in the music industry, and you've got issues such as fraud and stuff, there's actually a problem there that can actually generally be solved by blockchain. I think that's where we're going to start to see mass adoption over the next few years.
All right.
I mean, Nicolas said before something that is also interesting in terms of blockchains as itself. I mean, it's not something, it's new, but it's something that somehow has been around. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
For many years. In terms of, I've been reading things like, I mean, artists, they part their, they make stock options on their own material, and then they share the benefits through many the people who join, blah, blah, blah. I mean, David Bowie did that 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I mean, he was a pioneer. I mean, he just split his entire catalog and he sent it into the La Bolsa, into the
Markets,
into the stock markets. I mean, somehow it's something that was already in the minds. David Bowie saw it. So it's you know, it's something that now we have the technology, but you know, the idea, it's been around for many years. So it works.
Yeah, so I think that our main goal is teach the masses about what kind of things blockchain support us. You know, it's okay. And sometimes, in the technical perspective, we have some problems because okay, we can do that with blockchain, and we can do that without blockchain. It's the same. The only thing is okay, I can be transparent with that. I don't know, because maybe my business don't allows me to be transparent in this part. For example, with the data of the users, I can share that this song is played 3 times, but I can share with you who is the user. You know, we need to find the balance to use sometimes. Public networks with blockchain, maybe sometimes private blockchain networks with another integrators, or you know.
Yeah, indeed. For what I have read, there is a big problem in between what blockchain allows to do and the new GDPR, the new privacy policy implemented by the European Commission, and there is a big clash there. And it doesn't look that it has an easy solution. So I think that's why I'm getting deep into it, and I see that there is many constraints, regulation, the ICO wave.
So we can use blockchain to share information only in terms of big information without go deep in the information, like the user data. Okay, in Spain your music is played 300 times, and maybe you are better in France. You need to put effort in marketing in Spain. It's good. This is the kind of things that you can share. For example, the producers with the organizers. Okay, see that this is information of blockchain. Is share is a trust information that my band is better for your event. Okay, well I can see that you are selling music on iTunes and you are the second or the third or the first musician at Spotify. This is good, and if we can share this information to create first music and end events, because maybe the end of the life cycle of the music industry is the events. You know, you can create music, you can record music, you can distribute music, but the musicians need to play music at the events, and we can share this kind of information.
Let me ask you this then. So, with Eventbrite, are you worried that obviously blockchain is peer-to-peer? So, what I'd like to do in 5 years' time is, if I'm an artist and Ollie wants to buy a ticket, I'd like to just, that should all be able to take place without a third party.
Cut out the middleman. That's the whole idea.
So, with you guys being a middleman, does that worry you?
Of course.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You should do. I mean, that's why I'm so into it.
Yeah. No, I mean, when someone say to me, okay, with Bitcoin the banks disappear. Maybe not. Maybe the banks need to adopt this kind of technology. The ticketing platform, all the ticketing platform not only offers a place to sell tickets, offer more things, more products, and maybe the staff of this ticketing platform need to adopt with blockchain to share information between the organizers and between the user that at this moment doesn't have. It's more than create it's the same. It's create a trusted network to the user and the attendees and the musicians and the producers, and we can create a big network to share trusted information between us. You know, what kind of ticket are you selling in that event? You are the organizer, and the musicians say, oh, what number of this kind of tickets, or what number of this kind of another tickets, or how what's the age of the people that are buying these tickets, you know. We can share this kind of information with blockchain because you trust in the network, you know, trust in the word of the organizer and the word of the attendee, you know.
And again, I mean, Lee, you said a perfect word to define where we are with the blockchain, and you mentioned the middleman. You know, you want to be the middleman. Middleman, of course, is worried about blockchain. I mean, when I mention middleman, I'm saying, what about the manager? What about the publisher? What about the label? I mean, maybe they are not an important person anymore. You know, so that's. I mean, who pays the money to the artist when he plays a concert in Seville? Probably, I mean, the owner of the event pays to the manager pays to the artist. Correct? So I mean, blockchain is taking away middlemen, right? That's a good thing. But if I am the middleman, I don't like blockchain.
But
You know?
You don't have a choice in it. So if you're Ticketmaster or something, if I'm Lady Gaga, for example, not that I look like her, if I'm Lady Gaga, for example, and I've got my event, I've got enough fans probably, right, on my social media channels, etc. I can create a smart contract that, you know, if X funds are sent here, then X ticket is returned, and you can get a digital ticket, and I can sell out my concert without using someone like Ticketmaster or anyone else. So it completely cuts out the middleman, and the middleman doesn't even have a choice.
Yeah.
And you can make sure that your fans are, you know, the top fans,
the genuine
are
fans.
rewarded.
Yeah,
the real tickets go to
you
someone.
could even store the tickets on the blockchain and
But
make
then
them
obviously-
non-tradable.
yeah.
So once again, the reselling issue is gone. You've only got the legitimate fans there that will
Because
buy
you have
the
to have your
tickets.
ID on the
But I
blockchain.
think that's the biggest problem in the blockchain technology that is so disrupted that, you know, the world since we are in the ancient Egypt, the middleman has been there and has always played a role, and to take it away is not that easy.
Right.
And in this case, we are talking, the most representative case is banks. No, that is the paradigm. And, you know, to fight against the banks, you are seeing what is happening. They make lobby, then
Yeah,
they have
true,
regulation,
yeah.
they go against you. So I think it's a fantastic utopia at the moment that is becoming a reality, but that is going to be really tough to take out all these middlemen. I think
I'm not sure. I kind of agree when you come to banks and stuff, but when we're talking about tickets once again, I mean, if I'm the artist, I'm giving away a massive percentage to the ticket company, right? That's actually, why do I need to do that now? Why would I not implement that? I'm going to get more money in my pocket.
yeah, if you don't want a record label behind you to grow.
Right, that's exactly the point. I mean, you mentioned, and I am very much into the autogestión. I don't know how to say that. You know, I mean, a do-it-yourself artist. I mean, that's great. I mean, we have many cases of DIY artists, right? But I mean, as you said, I mean, what about if I mean, you mentioned Lady Gaga, but Lady Gaga today is huge. I mean, Radiohead. I mean, they just released an album and they give it for free. I mean, he's Radiohead. I mean, so today they are Radiohead. What about a band from Sevilla, from Úbeda, and they just want to launch their new album? They are completely unknown. They trust two middlemen. I mean,
Because they need the middleman to
because
sell the
they
tickets.
say, I mean, every case of rock and roll bands, I mean, they always start with the same. 4 friends, they go into a place to play, and somebody knows, I have a friend, my neighbor, my cousin is somebody in the radio, I know a manager, blah, 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 blah.
But that's
not that much. I mean,
how many bands you have through YouTube that they are become really
That's
big?
the, on a tangent, what Spotify would like now is to have artists and Spotify and no music industry. That's kind of where they would like to move.
Yeah.
Like they've already said they want a two-sided marketplace. But what could happen with the blockchain is you can pay on the blockchain. You can pay in micropayment. So if you look at it now, say we pay £10 a month to Spotify. I use Spotify, but I actually don't listen to that much music. I probably listen to, You know, I probably listen to like maybe 50 cents worth of music, and they get all the rest of the money. What will happen on blockchain is, instead of having a TV provider that gives you all your programs, you should just be able to pay by split payment for every program you watch, and it's going to be so much cheaper. And the actual, what we do with subscriptions and all you can eat subscriptions will be a thing of the past, because I'm not going to pay it's literally nearly £100 a month to get cable channels, to get 500 cable channels when I'm just watching 3 of those. With blockchain, it will mean the people who make those TV programs can go straight to me and say, if you want to watch this, it costs 0.01 pence, this. So I'll get better television, less adverts, and pay less money. So that's why Spotify should also be very worried, if I was them.
But that's the ideal world, because, you know, micropayments right now.
But who knows?
But what about...
I'm an idealistic guy. I want it all.
But what about Movistar, or what about Rukaten, or what about when they say, hey, I mean, I'm paying monthly in my house. We pay a lot of money because we have 4 network accounts, my children, my wife, blah, blah, blah. We watch football, and then it's like a lot of money. And then when I say Movistar is going to say, no problem. Blockchain came here, and because you're watching just 3...
I mean, it's a struggle. That's what I'm saying. The whole thing, that's why there's no adoption right now, because we're all struggling to get this move. But if you look at any industry, if you look at eBay, community moves faster than technology. Community will grow, and the technology will keep up. eBay was just a community of people selling stuff in their garage, and then it went off. Napster was a community of people sharing music, and then it went off, and the technology followed. The community of people that govern blockchain will move it faster than the banks can, and that's why it's going to win.
It will be like it has happened in all the industry. There will be a little player who will come up from will pop up like a mushroom, and it will start to grow, and the other will try to eliminate it, but you know it will propagate.
Because I said the major labels tried to sue the internet in '99. They actually thought they could stop the internet. That's you know, the stupidity of the people. That's what their plan was. But you can't, and you can't stop blockchain, and you can't stop Bitcoin. You can't stop these things happening. It's just a case of when mass adoption takes place and overtakes the third parties that have that control.
Nicolas?
Are you agree with me about we need to write from scratch what kind of thing we can do as a music industry with blockchain? Because, okay, good ideas, but we need to know what kind of ideas are good and what kind of ideas are bad for the industry, you know? Be transparent, okay, this is our main goal, but we need to fight with the characters and the music industry, because maybe not all the parts agree with that.
Well, so the problem was, in the old days, the music industry held all the content, you know, and that was a problem. So when Spotify tried to launch, their main problem was content. Now, I think 60% of the industry is independent. Like, I obviously have millions and millions of tracks that are independent, so it's less of a struggle now. It still is a struggle. If you want to get, you know, Taylor Swift on the blockchain, you have to go through the music industry, but the independent market is growing a lot faster than the major label market is, because people don't want to go to a label, they just want to release their own music. So over the next 10 years, you're going to see most of the biggest artists in the world aren't signed to a major label, because they're not going to go for an 80-20 deal where they're keeping 20%, where they can go to someone like me or another competitor where they get 90% of their royalties. So the shift of the whole music industry, comparatively with the shift of what it is, hopefully, you know, will do well.
All right.
Should we ask some questions?
Any last comment on the table? Okay, maybe we can open the floor and see if there is any question.
So you were talking about transparency, playing radio songs, using smart contracts. I'm also involved a bit in the sector. But my question is, all of those events, playing a song on the radio, watching a show on TV, those are all off-chain events. How are you gonna connect the blockchain world with off-chain events? And if you're relying on oracles, which is, if I'm not wrong, at the moment the only solution there is, those are also centralized entities. Who's going to control them? Have you thought about these problems? Have you come up with any initial thoughts or solutions? How to implement those use cases?
Right. That's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah. The problem we have right now is all those databases of information are not anywhere near being on the blockchain. So for me to get that information, I have to create an API between my blockchain and that set of information or statistics. So when I create a song and I package it up to be tracked, it will keep updating itself on new information. But I say that still, the problem we still have is the adoption phase. Once that radio station is on the blockchain and everything's on the blockchain, it's going to be the easiest thing ever to implement, because you can have your Oracle with your permissions and all that kind of stuff. At the moment, it's not. So my biggest plan for what we're doing is putting our content on the blockchain, and then communicating with those databases as best I can through an API. And then obviously as we adopt, I'll move. But it is a big problem because obviously they're not on the blockchain yet. But that's just adoption.
And they're not going to want to be on the blockchain, are they? Especially in these third world countries, because they are carrying
it's
out
going to be
fraud.
tough.
But what they are, right? Yeah. A lot of them, so, but yeah, in third world countries especially, right?
Yeah.
And who's going to pay the transaction costs? Let's say I want to listen to a song, I want to watch a movie. You're going to have to update the counter, and you're going to have to pay, at least with the technologies at the moment, to do that. And is your thought process that everybody's going to have wallets, or are you going to have middlemen who are doing the transactions that are more transparent? These are all just questions that I ask myself, and these are all...
Well, I guess that, that is about micropayments and that stuff, because, in permission-less network, there is always a miner or someone
And
who
you can,
still make a
you can, like he was saying before, you can actually do it through GPU mining. Obviously, you can sell your mining hash, and there's loads of ways you can actually pay for music.
So for example, let's say at the minute in the music industry, everyone pays on Spotify, right, for music, right? But in these third world countries, these people are unbanked, right? So let's use something like their GPU power or RAM power or something in their mobile phone to almost power this transaction. So this transaction, you know how mining works, right?
What was that?
You know how mining works?
Mining.
Mining?
You know how mining works?
blocks? Yeah.
Mining.
But you know how the actual mining process works. So we could always have something like this where we can use the computer power to pay for that transaction. So instead of an actual fee being paid, the actual users can generate that transaction just from the power that they're actually using to listen to the music. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but they still would need to have some sort of communication back to the blockchain to pay the fees.
No, the mining is done on the blockchain itself. So,
And then everything you have will have a token attached to it anyway. It's just how you dissect those tokens. You can get those tokens for free. An artist will have its own token.
So the actual payment fee can actually be generated while the song's listened to, for example.
Yeah, through GPU.
Through GPU mining, because we use all cryptocurrency is basically like if I send Lee money, someone's verifying that information. It's near enough a mathematical sum that's being calculated by tons of computer power. So basically, when you listen to that song, that sum can be processed, and then as an end result, a token would be processed, and that token can be sold for cash. So.
And that's right now. So you can imagine over the next 5 years when that develops, I think we'll all be able to generate our own, power by, just everyday stuff without actually paying for it, as long as you're mining it.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to take that technical question off my hands? Anything?
Want to develop
Right,
more
okay,
further?
good.
Any other question in the audience?
Here we go.
Great.
It's not set up.
It's not prepared?
They're very basics, like really, like I think my question is basic, but it will be better for me to understand. So you were saying about the middleman, to cut out the middleman, but also there's somebody or some entity, or in this case, Tito, it's creating a blockchain, so that becomes a middleman in some sense. So my question is like, what's exactly the business model of creating the blockchain, the database in that sense? So that's a technology, but of course there's a business. You are disrupting one business to create another one. So I need to understand exactly what's the business model on there. It's like a banking system that you take a percentage of each transaction. That's one question. And the other one, what's the role of the government on this? Like, it have to be like the politicians to implement, because as you were saying, like most of the companies, the big companies, they don't want to, because they have an advantage of the money they're keeping by not being transparent. Let's say radio stations, and government control the waves on the air, so they can make a law to obligate all the radio stations to use this database? Is part of the government to be on this part of the decision, or it have to be like private decision to change all the system to this new one that is not necessarily beneficial for them? So that's like, well.
Okay, we have two questions, Nicolas, you wanna?
Yeah, I think the music industry, for example, in Spain, we have a guy that controls what's happening with the music in Spain, and have some regulations with the radios about what kind of music, and the television, what kind of music is playing in their TV shows or in the radio shows, you know. So it's the same question with what happened with the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency at the banks. So the question now is what happened with the societies that are controlling that kind of thing with blockchain. Maybe this kind of society or groups needs to moderate what happened and be transparent with blockchain.
This guy is a private entity, and it had to be, it was controlling like a monopoly in Spain. So why they will change to a system that will take money from them?
I think that it's transparency. They can share what's happening in a trusted network with a well-defined smart contract between the radios and the TV and the televisions and the musicians, and you can see what's happened with the music in a public way, you know. And this is good for the relationship between the users and the artists. Yeah. But I don't believe in the anarchic public network, you know, as I don't believe in anarchy coin. You know what happened with my taxes in Spain. I need to pay, and if the government doesn't know what are my salary, what quantity I pay for live in Spain. But it's the same for the music. We need some entities that are involved to create public networks and trusted networks and safety networks and transparent networks that the user can say, okay, for me it's better be partner of this guy because it's free to be partner of this guy. You can grab music and 15 years. It's more or less free. It's more or less free. Almost free. Be partner of this kind of societies, but it's the same. I need to trust in the society. Maybe the artists don't trust in this kind of societies.
And I think the answer to the business model is also a good question, and there is no a clear answer, but there is one thing that blockchain brings to every situation, and it's efficiency. You don't need anyone tracking things. It's just happen and it's automatic, and that improves the time of the processes. A clear example is an international transfer of money that before took 2 days, and now you can make it in 2 minutes.
And
you know?
add more,
you are adding value and winning.
Add more easily functionalities to the assets that before was heavy in terms of technology. You know, you can add sense to an asset. I can add sense to a MP3. You know, if you play this MP3, you connect with the blockchain server and say, okay, I am playing this song. Nowadays, with the all stuff is so complicated. You need a lot of things to do that, but with blockchain it's easily. This is the business model. You are getting some functionalities with less charge of work.
But answering your question, I have no answer about the business model. But I mean, I think you pointed something very interesting. I mean, a business replacing another business. I mean, so blockchain somehow is a company replacing a different business. So somehow that blockchain company wants to make some money. So it becomes a new middleman. So I mean, we are. So it's. As I said before, I think this is cool, but I think this is going to take time. I mean, I don't think it's going to be. I mean, there are so many people involved that they say, okay, you're going to change the model that we have been working for many years. I mean, hey, take it easy. It's going to be. And regarding the business model, I mean, without knowing the answer, I understand will be somehow of commission thing through the transaction. I mean, that's the only thing I can see today, but it's too early.
It's not about earn more money. You know, the companies don't want to earn more money. the companies needs to be more
Yeah.
transparent.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
this is the business.
Yeah, but-
The
to
blockchain
improve
is
the
a
process.
paradigm
Yeah.
He
shift.
mentioned something very, very interesting. I mean, a business is replacing another business. I mean, I mean, we have to be very clear. I mean, this is not going to change the thing. We should say things that are realistic. I mean, the business has been this way for many years. There are so many people around, and I mean, I love technology. I mean, anybody here, when probably everybody remembers when we played the first song on Spotify, like 12 years ago, whatever. I mean, we thought, oh, that's very cool, but nobody thought that in 12 years later, I mean, that will be the 67% of the la facturación of the revenue of a company.
True,
I mean,
very true.
so those things, they will take time. So I mean, just like take it easy, and I think technology is something great, always something great. But I really agree with what you said. I mean, it's
Oliver, something to add there? To
No,
finish?
no, I think that's about summed up.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think it has been a good chat.
Any more questions? Anyone?
We are just on time, so thank you for coming. Thank
Yeah,
you
thanks.
for your participation. Let's give a big